Hey everyone, Chimera45 here. Welcome to my second review of Dragon Ball Super on episode 2. This week's episode is mostly a Vegeta episode, which is pretty cool. So let's start off with a review of the actual events of the episode. Starts off with a little recap of what went on last week, Mr. Satan giving Goku the money and then Goku going off to train with King Kai. So after all that, King Kai is seen driving with Bubbles and Gregory, his little monkey and cricket anime-only counterparts, I'm pretty sure. I don't think they appear in the manga. They might have appeared in... actually, I think I've heard that they never appear in the manga. I might be wrong. Do not quote me on that, but I think I've heard that before. And he's explaining to them how the line he says is funny, but I never really find King Kai's intended humor lines to be funny. He's a funny character, but his intended humor isn't that good, in my opinion. But as he's driving around, Goku arrives right in the middle of the road, of course, using his instant transmission, causing King Kai to veer off the road and crash into his house, wrecking his house and his car. So we see him fixing his house up and all that, and Goku's eating. Goku asks him, why can't you just fix your house with your powers? And he's like, well, I just like to do manual work. And then King Kai's like, why are you here? And Goku's like, I'm here to train. And it's just, Goku is so mean to King Kai. Not only did he kill him in the Cell games, but he just shows up randomly on his planet, eats all his food, and then just wrecks everything by training. Goku is pretty rude if you think about it to some people. Anyway, after King Kai is scolding Goku and all that, and Goku just completely ignores him, it cuts back to Earth where we see Bulma waking Trunks up as they're flying on one of their ships to go to some family vacation. And they look up, or the camera zooms up, and Vegeta is up on the roof just standing there. He's quote unquote training by just standing there. And he's complaining that it's not real training, while Bulma and Trunks are talking about Bulma not being able to fly. It was just a funny little scene. But the real funny scene comes right now, where Bulma's like, oh, okay, you want some real training? So she hits the gas on the ship and speeds off and, dives into the ocean, goes through a whole bunch of woods, all kinds of stuff, trying to dislodge Vegeta from the top. But Vegeta just stands there with his usual passive-aggressive face. It's funny. So they arrive at wherever it is. They don't really give it a name. It's just like this giant shopping center. And it's a little shopping montage. They're going to get clothes, sunglasses, accessories, all kinds of stuff. During the middle of it, while Trunks is changing in one of the changing booths, Bulma asks why Vegeta agreed to go on this family vacation, because in the past, whenever something like this would come up, he would just, scoff and be like, no, I'm not doing that. And it cuts back to the little training scene we saw of Vegeta and Trunks from the Buu Saga, where Vegeta's like, if you land one punch on me, I'll take you to the amusement park. And Trunks manages to scratch him one time. And Vegeta's like, don't get the wrong idea, I'm just keeping the end of my promise. Which Trunks really thinks is cool. He's like, thanks, Dad, this is a lot better than an amusement park. And Bulma's like, oh, come here, and tries to give him a hug. But he just brushes her off and gives her the cold shoulder. I don't really appreciate that. I know it's Vegeta's character and all, but he's supposed to have, developed a little more than that, I think, in my mind. But anyway, another little shopping montage of them going around, riding on rides and stuff like that. And throughout the whole thing, Vegeta just has his usual just mean face on. Then after all the shopping, Vegeta's like, I want something to eat. So they go to a restaurant, and they just start chowing down. The chef's bringing out, giant roasted pigs, giant roasted piranhas, and then they bring out a giant squid. And Vegeta remembers that earlier when Bulma dove into the ocean, when he came out, there was a squid stuck to his face. He gets all excited. He's like, haha, I'm going to eat your entire race. And just starts devouring the squid. But when he pulls on one of its tentacles, it inks him, just completely covers him in ink, just from head to toe. It was hilarious. And of course he gets pissed off, and he's starting to power up. So Bulma and Trunks are like, okay, come on, Vegeta, it's okay, we're just gonna go now. So later on that night, they're relaxing by the ocean, and they see a giant cruise liner go by. And Bulma's like, my party's coming up. Maybe we'll rent a cruise liner like that and go party on it, which gets Trunks excited. So even later during the night, at some huge luau party where there's like fire dancers and all that, Bulma and Trunks lose Vegeta in this massive crowd. And while he's getting like tousled around, he's having this whole mental conversation with himself about how like everyone in the crowd should be worshiping him because he beat Majin Buu and all that, which is a total lie. He came up with the idea how to beat Buu, but he didn't actually do it. And he just keeps getting angrier and angrier as he's getting bumped around by people. And the person on stage directing the whole thing sees him and sees that he's not smiling or anything like that. It's like, get that man on stage so he can have a dance off. So everyone just starts shouting, dance off, dance off, dance off. And Vegeta snaps and just screams in their usual fashion and knocks everyone down and flies away to go do some training. And Trunks yells, thanks, Dad, this was a really good day. Thanks for keeping your promise and all that. It was a cool little like family montage for Vegeta, but at the same time, he didn't have to be such a dick to his wife. Especially since all the shit she's put up with throughout their marriage. Alright, so after all of that, it cuts to Beerus hanging out on his planet. And he's trying to remember a dream he had while he was sleeping. But he can't remember it. So he calls to Whis, asking him if he's almost ready. And Whis is seen traveling to some other planet using his faster than light speed travel method or whatever it is. I'm not really sure. And he arrives on this planet. I think in the Japanese dub it had a name, but I didn't really have one in the English dub, and for the life of me, I can't remember the name of it. I'll try to look it up and put it on screen right now. But we see this giant dinosaur being hunted by these little creatures, and they're not having any effect. But then their chief shows up, and he beats the living shit out of this dinosaur. And I mean, this is a big dinosaur. And the aliens or I guess I should say the creatures, because they're not aliens on their own planet. The creatures are carrying the dinosaur back to their village when Whis shows up. And is like, well, sorry, I know you just went through all the trouble of killing this thing, but I'm taking it for my lord. And the chief transforms into just a bigger form of himself, and goes to, and Whis and him are talking, and then Beerus shows up, and he's like, where's my dinosaur meat? So the chief attacks him, and the thing has like 4 arms, and it's like punching at Beerus super, super fast, and Beerus is literally just using one finger and just deflecting everything. And, just handily defeats the guy, like, no problem. The thing gets in one, like, little sneak attack, but it doesn't even do anything to Beerus, which it shouldn't. So after just crushing the poor thing, Beerus and Whis are discussing why Beerus wants the dinosaur meat in the beginning. It's to help him remember his dream that he had. And when Whis questions him about it, Beerus is like, it's a premonition. But Whis is like, your premonitions really don't come true that often, Lord Beerus. And it's just a funny little moment between them. Anyway, after all that, Whis is like, so do you still want the dinosaur meat? And Beerus is like, nope. And just completely destroys the planet with not even with an energy ball the size of maybe a pinky nail, probably even smaller than that, and just completely destroys the entire planet. And all the way across the galaxy, Elder Kai senses the planet's destruction, but Supreme Kai doesn't for some reason. I guess because he's still new. I'm not really sure. But Elder Kai senses it and is like, oh shit, we're in trouble. Lord Beerus is awake, as Beerus watches the planet's destruction with this really sadistic smile on his face. But during the explosion of the planet, Beerus sees the outline of someone in the explosion, the person that he had a dream about. But before he says anything about it, it cuts away real quick, and it shows Vegeta in his training room, his gravity training room, going through really intensive training under, I didn't see how much gravity he was training under, but I'm going to assume it was at least 350 times Earth's gravity. My God, I couldn't imagine being under something like that. You'd be crushed. You'd be crushed. I don't know if a human could take more than 10 times Earth's gravity. You'd be crushed. But during his like training, we hear him talking in his head, admitting that like Goku is stronger than him right now, but he's going to surpass him. He's going to surpass everyone else in the universe, and vows to be the ultimate number one that there is. Bullshit. No offense to Vegeta, but there are just some beings out there that we don't even know about yet. If you've just started watching the English dub, I'm not going to spoil anything, but there's just some beings out there that, you know, is not going to happen for a while, if ever. But anyway, after Vegeta vows to be number one and all that, cuts back to Beerus and Whis. And Whis is like, oh, are you sure you don't want the dinosaur meat? You know, it might have helped you remember. And Beerus is like, nope, it's not required anymore. The explosion helped me remember. The name of my ultimate foe is the Super Saiyan God. And that's pretty much how the episode ends. So overall, this was another like slow episode, but it had more action in it than last week's episode, with Beerus fighting that alien and all that, and Vegeta. There, you could say there was quote unquote action scenes with him, like going through the water and powering up and all that, but he didn't end the training, but nothing really too intense. But it was definitely still a good episode, don't get me wrong. I still enjoyed it very much. I probably enjoyed it more than last week's episode. Yeah, definitely would say I enjoyed it more. It was funny, lots of Vegeta humor, which is weird to see after watching Dragon Ball Z for so many years. But I will say, like, watching TFS, their Dragon Ball Z Abridged, has definitely gotten me more, like, used to Vegeta being funny. So it's not too jarring. Because if I had just gone from watching, like, straight Dragon Ball Z to Dragon Ball Super and just seeing this Vegeta comedy, it would probably, like, throw me off more. But after watching Dragon Ball Z Abridged, it's just like, okay, I can deal with this. It's almost like a hybrid now. And I'm not sure if, like, Funimation did this, or if it's just, like, had more time and more people have been able to improve it or something like that. But the animation looks better than it did before, like, in the original airing of the episodes. I don't know if that's just me. I don't know if they're using, like better footage or what. I'm not entirely sure, but it looked really good. The fight scenes were pretty good. The voicing is great. Vegeta's voice, Chris Sabat still sounds the same that he did when he first started doing. Well, not really, but he sounds the same as he did at the end of the Buu saga. Hit my mic. That's a better way of putting that, because he has changed Vegeta's voice quite a bit over the years. Yeah, it was just overall good episode. There was a couple of things I didn't like about it, like Vegeta being cold to Bulma, and Vegeta claiming to beat Buu, and Goku disrespecting King Kai. Like, that's just not cool. But those are just like little minor things. The overall episode, there was really nothing I disliked about it. I liked that Vegeta kept his promise to Trunks. I liked that he actually went out with his family, even though he was, like, stone-facing the whole time. But I really can't say much about that, because I pretty much do the same thing with my family events. So I really can't say anything. I like seeing Goku go off to train. I like seeing Beerus doing something, like, just dominating that alien, even though I felt bad for the thing. And just, yeah, it was an overall good episode. Go, if you haven't watched it, or if you don't know where to watch it, I watch it on Dragon Ball Time.tv or something like that. Just go to Google, type in Dragon Ball Super episode 1 or 2, English dubbed, whatever, start on 1 if you haven't watched it yet. And, it'll be like the first option. If I remember, I'll try to leave a link for it down in the description box. And yeah, that's Dragon Ball Super episode 2. Now, before I leave, I just want to say thank you to everyone in just 5 days. Now, I know some people are going to be like, wow, really, dude, you're excited over this. But in just 5 days, my first Dragon Ball Super review episode has gotten over 1,000 views in just 5 days. I know to a lot of people, like, some channels get 1,000 views in less than a minute. And I know that. but for me, that is my fastest growing video ever. It's not my most viewed video, but I kind of have a feeling that if it keeps going like this, it will be. But I'm just, like, I'm saying thank you, like, humbly, like, thank you. I woke up the next day, like, after the day after I posted, and it had, like, over 200 views on, like, the first night, and I'm like, holy shit. And it's already gotten over 1,000 already. That's just unbelievable to me. And I just really want to say thank you to everyone who's watched it. And I'm glad that you enjoyed them, or enjoyed the first one, and I hope you enjoyed this one, and hope you enjoy all my review episodes on this show, because I like Dragon Ball Super. It's a lot of fun. Not saying it's flawless. Some of the writing later on gets a little questionable, just a little bit, but overall it's a good show, and I hope that if you haven't checked it out yet, I can maybe get you to check it out, or, you know, I can be like one of the influences that get you to check it out. But anyway, so thank you all again so much for watching, and I hope you have a good rest of the day.